Hey, I'm Linda, and I'm a landscape designer. One of the most important elements of a garden is figuring out what you want to do. So we start off with a consultation. So today I'm meeting with Megan, and she and her husband just moved into this home, and they're renovating on the inside. And so we're looking at her garden to start figuring out what to do here, because it's very dated, and she needs some verticality here. We've got to figure out what color the front door will be. One of the big questions I have to ask the client is, what are some of your favorite colors or plants that you might like? And because we live in the Low Country, which is in Charleston, what would be some of your favorite colors that you would have?
Yeah, so one of the things we fell in love with this house is the color green.
Yep.
So obviously plants come naturally green, so to say we want green plants seems a little funny, but other colors we like is really this house drew us in because it reminded us of a Hawaiian sort of tropical home from that has a bit of the dated look that we like, the retro look, or we like the mid-century modern, but plants-wise would love some more of that tropical, maybe Hawaiian look.
Yeah, so a great key there is that she wants tropical, which is not unusual in South Carolina. You have a lot of subtropical colors that we can play into that, but more than anything, playing off of the greens. So there we will use texture, form, and fragrance, and maybe not as much color, because even with what she has currently, even though it's dated, you've got the sago palms of the denser foliage and that type of thing that will welcome you here. One of the biggest things that I see in dated homes is like sidewalks. Like this sidewalk, I'd like to see it expanded out a little bit, maybe expanded that to make it more modern, because her stairs here are wider, probably about 6 to 8 feet. So we'd want to bring color here, and on the way up from this driveway, which is called your arrival sequence, you want to add color, texture, form, fragrance. You want this to be welcoming to whoever's coming to your front door. So from a focal point standpoint, we'd need 2 of them here in front of these 2 sides windows here on center, and whatever is on the outside would be viewed from the inside as well. So what are some of the favorite colors inside? Like maybe on your drape, you may have some accent colors like blues or yellows or something like that. So we would incorporate that in something here. So a focal point here could be a statuary, an urn, on a pedestal, or a water feature.
Yep.
And that kind of thing makes you feel warm and welcoming when you're walking up the drive. Okay, so now that we've talked about what's going to kind of happen on the arrival sequence, we're going to walk around the back where they have a pool. We're going to talk a little bit about your lifestyle, what your budget expectations are, and maybe some miscellaneous functionality issues like drainage, irrigation, lighting, and that type of thing. Come on, let's go.
So how much is this going to cost us?
Well, that's a great question, and it's always a question that people struggle with constantly, because you start putting it together, and before you know it, the budget can be crazy big. So I always recommend going phased planting. So I would start in the front first because it's a renovation. I'd start in the front because that's curb appeal, it adds value to your home and that type of thing. But where you're going to enjoy it the most is going to be right out here.
Yeah.
You want to have fun, invite people over, have a grill, and cook out. So from a budgetary standpoint, I would recommend probably starting in the very beginning in the front, probably about a $15,000 budget, which is pretty realistic, because we're going to have to take everything out. We have to remove and dispose what you already have.
Okay.
So we have to get rid of, that's a process a lot of people forget about, is you have to get rid of what you got, which is time consuming and it's a lot of work. So you have to clear those beds, prep the beds, and then you add some beautiful plants. And then the next phase, which would maybe be the following season, then we come to the pool area.
Okay.
And then we would work on that. And then you and I would collaborate together on what type of upholstery you would have, what type of chairs you would have, and what you would want to do, whether it would be hardscapes, meaning any kind of mulch or stonework that we want to put in the perimeter beds. And voila, it's a finished garden.
So if we go into the phasing, are there any things that we can do as homeowners in the meantime just to keep the property as is?
So you have a mature garden. It's been here for 30 or 40 years, given by the look of it. So you have some select pieces that can be repurposed, either by transplanting. I personally like to kind of keep them where they are if they don't need to be transplanted. Like in this situation, these 2 palms are fantastic. I wouldn't even consider taking these out. And this camellia tree is made into a camellia tree, and it was once a shrub. And so it's things like that that you can upfit, raising that canopy, getting the color, and it transforms that particular plant. And once you fertilize that, put soil down, it's good to go for another 20, 30, 40 years.
Okay. So one thing we were really excited about is to start composting. And so now that we have all of the soil, what are some recommendations of what we can do with it?
Compost, because that is real world, right? So it's wonderful that you do that. It saves, you know, it's eco-friendly. So I just amend that in with a good garden mix soil when I'm doing plantings, like in a good planting bed. And that will help your garden plants just thrive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So this is going to be a fabulous project.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
We're going to have fun.